All right. Well, a very, very happy Monday, and welcome to another episode of the TNC Sports Talk. My name is Justin. Let's see, I got it up here. Yep, today is December 22nd of 2025, and we are just a few days away from Christmas and the holidays and a shortened next few weeks for us. So if you guys are planning on looking ahead for Christmas and New Year's, and you guys want to say, well, what's next for this podcast? We are going to we're going to have a podcast today and tomorrow. Then we will have a 5-day weekend. Come back have a podcast next Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And then have a 4-day weekend before resuming our weekly daily podcast to kick off the 2026 calendar year. So I know that's a lot, maybe to entail. Listen, I got to be honest with you. I'm not a fan of it at all because if you know anything about podcasting, talk shows, and whatnot, consistency is key. Got to be consistent with the product that you put out there. And we've been working extremely hard for the past several weeks, and I really want to keep that going. But it's also good for us in this show to be able to kind of take some time off and enjoy the holidays with the loved ones and, get ready for the 2026 calendar year because, boy, I got to tell you, I got a lot of things planned, a lot of things going on. I'm excited for what's to come in this show. So I have it posted. I will post it again, the schedule for the next 2 weeks. And, we're just going to try to put together a show for the next 2 days that will explain in a nutshell what we are looking for throughout the entire week. So on today's episode, we will be recapping the NFL Week 16 as many more teams have clinched a playoff, as well as teams that have even won their division. We will talk about those exciting games today. We will recap the college football playoffs, get you guys ready for bowl games this coming up week, as we have Washington State taking on Utah State today at the Potato Bowl. By the time this episode has aired, that game was already accomplished. We would have Raw on Netflix tonight. Raw was taped last Friday, and I think I've expressed about this before. I'm not a big fan of tape shows, especially in the WWE, where today's society we will see a lot of spoilers revealed, and I'm not necessarily expecting anything exciting to happen, but I was seeing a lot of spoilers of what we were expected to see on SmackDown, and coming up on Raw tonight, I am kind of anticipating Austin Theory, maybe CM Punk, and some explanations with the Vision after we learn that Austin Theory was behind the Masked Man that's been taunting CM Punk and cost them the Survivor Series match and whatnot. So I just hate though when people play spoiler, and I get it. You got phones, you could record things, but there's just something that just does not sit well with me. But anyways, before we get started, I want to hope everyone has had themselves a good weekend. Holiday season, or this back end of the holiday season, has kicked off for me last Friday. The wife and I took our kids to our local church for a Christmas Eve production called This Is Christmas. Yes, I said Christmas Eve, even though that's Wednesday. It took place last Friday. I guess last year, their production that took place on Christmas Eve was such a success that not only they ran it back for a second year, but they had to include more dates and times just to ensure the availability for everyone to be able to witness and to see this live production. And it was a live production. It was filled with music, filled with storytelling as they told the story, the manger story, and Mary and Joseph's side of things. They had live animals. And all I gotta say is that it was such an incredible performance. I felt like I was stealing from somebody because this performance was something that you should have saw on Broadway. I mean, it was just a musical, the worship team just came out there, put on performances, singing songs that are in relations, including one of my favorites of all time, Mary Did You Know? I love that song, and the guy who played it, phenomenal. I can't condone enough the passion that he put into it. Just it was memorable. And, if you guys have gotten a chance to, watch it yourself, I want to hear your thoughts if you guys haven't. I encourage you to. I don't know if you guys are already scheduled, but most of the slots, if not all of them, are already, I guess booked out to say. So, um, it was a great production. Saturday, we had a great time with our friends. We had like a little friends Christmas party at the house. Got a chance for the kids to open up some gifts, us to share some laughs and some gifts. And I don't know if you guys have noticed, but I got this Boston gaming chair from my sister-in-law. That's what came on. She put it together, gave it to me over the weekend. I'm thankful for her and for the gift that she gave me because my other chair I've had for a few years is kind of one of those old just office chairs, but it was a bit uncomfortable. This one comes with the massager. Haven't tried it yet, but it was just a fun time. Weekend came by fast, and now we get to enjoy the rest of this week. Hopefully, it's a quiet week, and we talk about the short schedule, and I've explained here on our show, there's really no coordinates to it. It all based off of who is off of work, who is off of daycare, who is off of school, when they're off of school, and what I'm capable of doing. So, unfortunately, I do try my best to have a consistent Monday through Friday show get published, but things do change. Plus, hey, people get sick all the time. I'm for one who does get sick. I still try to push a episode through if I can, but sometimes, things happen. All right. So I wanted to touch base here a little bit when it coming straight to tomorrow, yesterday's game, not tomorrow. Yesterday. The Bengals picked up a victory against the Miami Dolphins. They won 45-21. And it's kind of hard because, you're still a Bengals fan, even though they've been eliminated, despite everything that kind of has unraveled over the last few weeks between Joe Burrow not being happy, between fans pointing at Zach Taylor and Duke Tobin as the ones to blame for the failures of this Bengals team and demanding change. I've gotten a chance to reflect a little bit think about it over the weekend, allow things to calm down. And I'm going to say this. I think fans are valid for being upset. Fans have the expectation of their teams, no matter who they are, no matter what position they're in, they have the expectation that their team is good enough to go to the playoffs, to win a division title, to win the Super Bowl or even the World Series. And for a Bengals team who has demonstrated early on, right, without this completion that I feel, we've had over more recently than not. But, for having a couple championship wins, for having to beat the Kansas City Chiefs and go to the Super Bowl and compete in a couple AFC championship matches, we feel as a fan base, this team is as good as being able to go to should be contenders each and every year. Should be going down to the final game of the series, winning ball games, possibly making it into the playoffs with a wild card or division spot. And unfortunately, we do not see that from the Bengals, not this year, not last year, but not last 3 years. And so heading into this season, already knowing, hey, we're going to have our defensive problems. We're hoping, our run game is questionable, but with Joe Burrow behind the reins, we're going to at least we'll have a chance. We'll have a better chance than any other team out there this year. Joe Burrow gets hurt, and then it just seems like a domino effect from down there. We lose a couple embarrassing matches that should have been really games that we could have won. We just were never able to really bounce back. We gave up a loss. We gave the Jets their first win of the season, if that tells you anything. And by the time Joe Burrow comes back, I'm sure he's not 100% from his turf toe surgery. I'm sure that he is, he's struggling. His backup is against the wall. He knows he's battling a loose, a no-win situation when it comes down to, well, I can't make a mistake. And, we see it. He wins Thanksgiving, loses the next two games, very close games, and we're eliminated from the playoffs. And what we also see is a Joe Burrow that it doesn't seem to be happy with this ball club. It doesn't seem to be happy with playing football, and speculations are tossed out there that he could possibly see early retirement or ask for a trade. And, fans get defensive. Our captain not having fun. Well, guess what? I'm, as a fan, not going to have fun. And so to see the Bengals go out there, you got nothing to lose, you got nothing to gain but morale. You go out there to Miami and you beat up on the Dolphins. You beat up on Quinn Ewers. Okay, you beat up on Mike McDaniel. And you pull a 45-21 victory, something that we haven't seen this season. We definitely seen on the opposite side. We've been on the opposite side of this for quite a few times this year, where it's been almost a blowout for for us. And you see Joe Burrow happy. You see Jamar Chase and Chase Brown and T. Higgins. You see everybody happy. And it makes me happy as a fan to watch my players, the gay players that I'm going to go buy the jerseys, the players that I'm going to go see and get the tickets for, is sit in the snow that Mike Brown can't hire anyone to clean off. I'm happy to see the Bengals happy, win or lose. But when the Bengals aren't happy, then I'm not happy. I'm just as frustrated. So it was good for a change of things that we got a chance to see a happy Bengals team with a happy result. I do want a little bit of happiness this Christmas. I don't know about you, but the Bengals winning yesterday was a happy moment. It's going to lead me in feeling good about Christmas. Okay, heading into Christmas, I'm going to be happy because all week long I get to talk about the Bengals won football. Bengals beat the Dolphins. I know it doesn't mean anything. I know a win here in week 16 after being eliminated doesn't fix anything that's happening in the front office. I still think that Mike Brown in the front office needs to address in the offseason, and make some dramatic changes. I don't know where those are to be made at. I think there are areas that we want them to be made at, but there's no saying where they're going to be made at, but something has to be done. But that's a conversation that Mike Brown gets to do behind closed doors, doesn't get to reveal right now because we still have 2 games this week. We're not seeing anything until closer to possibly maybe the off season, right? Fair to say. But to see the Bengals at least pick up a victory, I'm encouraged, in a game where I wasn't even confident, even though that the Dolphins were starting their emergency quarterback in Quinn Ewers. I wasn't confident that the Bengals had what it takes to pull off a victory, but they did, and I'm impressed by that. So, I want them to finish off the year strong. I don't care about the draft. Maybe you do. I don't care. Win the next 2 games. Give us fans something to talk about other than what's going to be happening at the draft pick. Give us a sense of mind saying, no matter what Zach Taylor does, no matter what Duke Tobin does, no matter what Mike Brown does, the team that's on the field right now, no matter if we keep some of them or have to get rid of some of them, the fact of the matter is that we are looking positive heading into the next season, because that's all we have to look forward to. So I'm happy. I'm glad that the Bengals won. It boosts my morale in this fan base. It got me thinking about what took place and what was said earlier last week, when Mike McDaniel called out and said that that they were going to bench Tua Tagovailoa and start not Zach Wilson, but Quinn Ewers, their rookie quarterback. Mike McDaniel specifically said that the decision of starting Quinn Ewers was because he felt he was the best quarterback that could give this Dolphins team a chance to win. And I came out here on Friday and I was like, you know what? That's a bit absurd. I could have taken any answer or reasoning, and that would have been acceptable to me. My instinct that I was telling you Friday or even Thursday about Mike McDaniel's decision was like, look, we're eliminated from the playoffs. There's no purpose of putting Tua out there and injuring himself. We already know what Zach Wilson has done, with the Jets and with other teams. Quinn Ewers is a rookie quarterback. He hasn't gotten his chance to play yet. And I feel like we need to at least look at him and give him a clear shot. Now, these next 3 games would be clear to me. It would give me, a chance to analyze who he is as a football player, whether or not if he is someone that we can work with down the road and possibly be a backup quarterback or even a future quarterback, or do we need to go back into the trade, block and see, in the draft who we could pick up as a quarterback? That would be the most excellent statement, in my opinion, that could have been said from Mike McDaniel about Quinn Ewers. But to say that he gave you the perfect opportunity to win, I think is a bunch of BS. And I think you know it too, because obviously Sunday was nothing close to a winning game. It wasn't even competitively close. And it wasn't all Quinn Ewers' fault, but when you go back and you look at the game and you try to now compare what a quarterback like Quinn Ewers is doing, I kind of turn my head towards Mike McDaniel's. Like, what did you really think he was still your best quarterback to win this game? Yeah, I don't think so. But it is what it is. Bengals pick up a victory. They come back home. It's supposed to be raining next Sunday, and the Bengals host the Arizona Cardinals. Like I said, I would like them to finish off the season strong and finish off the season with the last couple wins here, in my opinion. But that is just me. I digress. But hey, look, listen, Enlightened Studios, before we get moving, I want to talk about Enlightened Studios. They got a new production called Grassroots coming up here in February. It's a perfect holiday present, in my opinion. I know holidays are, just a few days away, but if you guys are looking to get your next present, for your loved ones or your friends, Grassroots is the place to go. Premiering at the Archville Theater on February 20th through March 1st. Grassroots is a very powerful story about a colored family moving into a white neighborhood in the 1950s. They deal with drama, they deal with adversity, they deal with secrets, and they all get spilled out in some way, shape, or form. Presented by Enlightened Studios, written and directed by Terry Chappell II. Enlightened Grassroots is available now by heading over to tickettailor.com. You see this little link here on the screen for those. I know a link will be provided in this description, but if you press this link, it will take you to the website of being able to get your tickets. They have a lot of performance still available, but get your tickets fast. They will sell out. That's what we hope. All right. So week 16 is behind us. We saw a lot of things kind of unravel, right, for week 16 in the NFL. And want to first of all just say, look, Kansas City's woes is continuing. Patrick Mahomes goes down last week as they were eliminated from the playoffs. Gardner Minshew is out with a torn ACL now. The Lions' path to the postseason is very limited and near. Lamar Jackson deals with a back injury after losing to the Packers. DK Metcalf is dealing with some issues after his incident with punching a fan in yesterday's game. But a lot of things have made the postseason a little bit more clearer. We'll take you back to Thursday Night Football, where the Seattle Seahawks clinched the playoff berth after beating the Los Angeles Rams in overtime 38-30 on Thursday Night Football. We talked about, we already knew how big this game was. Now, no team in the NFC West has clinched the playoffs yet, but here's the deal. Seattle, the Rams, both have clinched a playoff spot. They are waiting to see who wins the division based off of the outcome over the next 2 weeks. They will not face each other for the remainder of the season. So it will be crucial that both teams pick up victories, as they also, the Seahawks, although they hold the lead right now in the AFC West, in the NFC West, they hold the number 1 seed in the wild card spot. Seahawks are at 12-3, and they hold the number 1 seed. The Rams are 11-4, and they hold the number 5 seed, the first wild card spot. If the playoffs were start today, they'd hand over to Carolina. Talking about the Panthers, they beat the Buccaneers 23-20 yesterday, and making a nice, impressive comeback. They currently hold the number 4th seed in the NFC playoff spot. They have taken over. Tampa Bay is on the outskirts right now, looking in. Their best bet is to come back and win a division. These two teams will meet each other in 2 weeks, as they hopefully it will probably all come down to determining who's going to take on, who's going to end up clinching that division. But Panthers, man, they've come back out of nowhere. I got to tell you that. The Chicago Bears also clinched a playoff after beating the Green Bay Packers on Saturday. 22 also made a comeback. They hold the number 2 seed. Now, they haven't clinched the division yet, but they've clinched a playoff spot, and they also look to clinch a division with a win next weekend. The Philadelphia Eagles kind of played devil's advocate on Saturday. They beat up on the Washington Commanders 29-18. With that win, that not only clinches, they won the NFC East for the first time back-to-back years since they did it with Donovan McNabb over a decade ago. But they also knocked out the Dallas Cowboys from the postseason. The only 2 teams on the outside looking in that has yet to clinch will be the Panthers, the Green Bay Packers, the Detroit Lions, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The 49ers have also clinched a division, clinched a playoff berth as well, and they host the Indianapolis Colts tonight. There's a lot of teams have yet to clinch in the AFC. The Broncos, the Patriots have clinched. Jaguars are 11-4. Pittsburgh is 9-6. But the Steelers have clinched their 22nd consecutive winning streak, the most in NFL history. I know there's not much more to be talked about that, but the Pittsburgh has finished with a 500 or better record every year since 2004 and under Mike Tomlin. The second team to be able to win a streak would be number 21 seasons in a row. The Dallas Cowboys from 1965 to 1985. The New England Patriots did it from 2001 to 2019 under Tom Brady with 19 consecutive wins. You got the Oakland Raiders and the 49ers tying it up with 16. With the Chicago Bears at 15, that was dated back to 1930 to 1944. So, man. But we look at that. The Chargers are also 11-4, as well as the Bills have not clinched yet. The Texans are 10-5. The Colts are 8-6. They await their game tonight. Baltimore is 7-8, but they'll be over in Green Bay. And so, if you are we're still paying attention to the AFC North Division. The Steelers are 9-7. No, they're 9-6. They just need Baltimore to lose one more game. Don't forget, they will both play each other in Pittsburgh in 2 weeks. Baltimore will need to win out, and Pittsburgh will at least need to win one more. We will bring to you scenarios more than likely tomorrow. But with the Bengals win on Sunday, that moved the Bengals to a 5-10 record. They will not finish off the season. Well, it depends, because they still got Arizona, then Cincinnati. Cleveland's home to Pittsburgh next week, and Cleveland is 3-12. Miami will not finish in last place, as the Jets are 3-12. We would have to pick up at least another victory in order to avoid last place. I say Bengals, you could win all 3. Interesting note coming up here next weekend, though, in Week 17, a Sunday game at 4:05 p.m. You can check out the New York Giants taking on the Las Vegas Raiders. Both teams have a 2-3 record, and it's going to be the battle of the first draft pick of the 2026 season. Who's going to select that? The Browns. I don't know if you heard this little scary news from yesterday's game. Running back Quishon Junkins suffers a fractured fibia and a dislocated ankle as they lost to the Buffalo Bills. I saw the recap of that play, and I got to tell you, I do not understand these things. I'm astonished. It's crazy to see these injuries happen. I wish him the absolute best moving forward. Hopefully he has a speedy recovery. Alrighty. We'll take you over to Major League Baseball's real quick, as we had the Chicago White Sox had some interesting transactions happen over the weekend. They signed Japan's professional baseball player Munetaka Murakami for a 2-year, $34 million deal. And then over the weekend, the Red Sox and the Cardinals had a trade. Cardinals are sending catcher Wilson Contreras over to the Red Sox for right-handed pitchers. Boston's going to send over right-handed pitcher Hunter Dobbins and 2 minor league pitchers as well in that trade, as the Cardinals continue to unload and unwind their roster. You think of guys that's on there like Nolan Arenado, and you just think what else could happen here as the holiday season doesn't really bring a whole lot of news for Major League Baseball talk as well. But that's that. I want to give a shout out and a congratulations to college football first round winners. Miami, number 10 Miami beat number 7 Texas A&M 10-3. Ole Miss, number 6, beat number 20 Tulane 41-10. Number 5 Oregon beat up on number 24 James Madison 51-34. On Saturday, Alabama, number 9, beat Oklahoma, number 8 34-24, and that has subsided the first round of the playoffs. So that will take place in 2 weeks, about a week and a half actually, on New Year's Day. I'll get you those matchups here coming into tomorrow. Washington State and Utah State takes on each other on ESPN at 2 p.m. Some bowl games that took place over the weekend. Western Michigan beat Kennesaw State 41-6 in Myrtle Beach Bowl. NC State beat Memphis 31-7 at the Gasparilla Bowl. And then we also had Xbox Bowl 34-28. Arkansas State beat Missouri State. Old Dominion beat up South Florida 24-10 at the Cure Bowl. Coming up here in week 18, kind of looking in advance because it all begins tomorrow. On Tuesday, Toledo versus Louisville at the Boca Raton Bowl. That kickoff is at 2 p.m. We have 5:30 p.m. Western Kentucky taking on Southern Mississippi at the New Orleans Bowl. And at 9 p.m., UNLV takes on Ohio at the Frisco Bowl. On Wednesday, Christmas Eve, California takes on Hawaii at the Hawaii Bowl. Central Michigan takes on Northwestern at the Game Above Sports Bowl on Friday. Nothing on Christmas Day. That kickoff on Fridays at 1 p.m. At 4:30 p.m., New Mexico takes on Minnesota at the Rate Bowl. Also, we have FIU takes on UTSA at the First Responder Bowl. Pittsburgh takes on East Carolina on Saturday at the Military Bowl. We have the Penn State versus Clemson at the Pinstripe Bowl at noon on Saturday, as well as UConn taking on Army at the Fenway Bowl. Georgia Tech take on BYU at the Pop-Tarts Bowl. On Saturday at 4:30, Miami, Ohio takes on Fresno State at the Arizona Bowl. Then we have North Texas taking on San Diego State at the New Mexico Bowl. Saturday at 7:30 p.m., Virginia takes on Missouri at Gator Bowl. LSU takes on Houston at the Texas Bowl at 9:15. And then on next Monday, the 29th, we have Georgia Southern take on Application State at the Birmingham Bowl. That'll be available on ESPN, either ESPN or ABC. I see one game on CW, but those are where you're going to be able to catch all your bowl games and your bowl needs. But that's all that. Hey, listen, I want you guys to engage with me. I love the conversations, whether they're good or bad. I encourage you guys to reach out. The best way you guys could do that is I am active on our YouTube page, TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel. You can leave a comment in one of the comments or in the community chat. Also, you could check me out on our Facebook page. I'm trying to get more social active. TikTok, TNC Sports Talk, TikTok. I'm not very much active. I'm active, but I'm not really on that social media to look at reviews. I'm just posting content. But Facebook will probably be the best way to reach out, to hit the DMs, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Last thing I kind of want to wrap up here, heading into the end of today's episode, is things to think about as we head to our 2026 end of year. Go the things 2026. Well, I'm still learning out the ins and outs of the Riverside Studios, but as we wrap down the end of 2025 and we begin 2026, I know this is a conversation for podcasters and radio hosts and stuff like that, but it is the time to think about New Year's revolution resolutions. On January 5th, I'm planning on sharing my New Year's resolution to everyone, and my goal is to keep it. I think that is still something that is being done, is how quickly are we going to lose that? How quickly can we gain that? So, if you guys have a New Year's resolution, maybe that's watching more sports, maybe that's staying committed to a specific team. I encourage you guys to share that information here, and I'll even share it on our show with us. Also, things to think about. Maybe this is a no brainer for you, but start thinking about specifically in the WWE top 5 matches of 2025. What was your favorite feud? Who was your favorite wrestler? Do you have a top 5 male and top 5 female? What was your favorite championship match? What was your favorite PLE? What was your favorite, moment in WWE 2025? What was your least favorite moment? Kind of want to get your perspective. I will show you mine at the beginning of the year, but that is what's a couple of things that we have in store for us as the 2026 kicks underway here on January 5th for us when we return back to our daily content. So if you guys are thinking about, I'll, just leave you guys something to think about for the holiday, weeks. We'll come back. We'll share you that. Does John Cena and Gunther make that top 5 moment for you in WWE, or do we see something else? Right. So, but those are things that we are thinking about for 2026. Like I said, tickets are still available for Grassroots. I'm excited for what 2026 has to offer. I can't wait to start talking about it. It is right around the corner. We got 4 more episodes after this before we hit 2025 for us. So, with that being said, that is all the time we had for you today. I want to thank everyone for tuning in. I appreciate your support, whether you guys are listening to us on audio platforms or on our social media accounts. Thank you. Be sure to hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Have those notifications on so you don't miss a single episode. And until next time, you guys have a wonderful rest of your day, and we will see you tomorrow. Thank you. Take care.